right. How many buckets?
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Soto Area School District, Monday, November 16th, 2020 at 7 p.m. in the Middle High School Common. Roll call, please, Gary.
Jess Boardman,
Yes.
Gary Fox, yes. Kirk Holiday,
Well, he said he can't make it tonight.
Brent Hutchinson,
Here.
Jeff Long,
Yes.
Rick Pedretti,
Yes.
Doris Freeman,
Yes.
Brian Benner,
Yes.
Kevin Wallace.
He's on his way. Proof of giving public notice, please, Lindsay.
The meeting was publicized by posting on the school doors, banks, and post offices in DeSoto, Ferryville, Genoa, and Stoddard, Pronto and DeSoto, Ferryville Cheese Store in Ferryville, and Red Mountain Store on November 13th, 2020, printed in the broadcaster on the same date and broadcast over WBRQ radio.
Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
There are none.
I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Make that motion. Motion by Jess. Seconded by Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have a text from Jackie that there were no emails or anything for public comment.
No emails were received by the district office or mail handed in by 3:30 p.m. today.
Okay, with that, then we can go to committee and other reports.
We did not have any committee meetings between the last meeting in October, which was the 26th, and today's date.
Thank you. With that, we'll go to our first item of business, and that is the approval of the receipts and expenditures. And I told Jess about the one that was just mislabeled. If you have any questions, I'd ask for a motion to approve the receipts and expenditures. Okay, motion by Ryan, seconded by Darius. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is the approval of the minutes dated 10/26/20. I just made a couple little corrections. Couple of corrections with some sentences. We added a we and we added a the, I think, but other than that, nothing.
Did you note those on your copy so I can give
I know.
you back to them?
Got it highlighted, yeah.
I'll make a motion with the corrections. Okay. Jess makes a motion to approve the minutes, and then seconded by Brent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is the resignation, hiring, transfer, and approval of volunteers.
In your folder, you had a few additional ones to add. We have a resignation from Kevin Campbell from the National Honor Society advisor. That position will be posted, but we do have an internal candidate, Meg Mullen, who has already expressed interest in the position. She does have previous experience, but we will need to post that position. We have a transfer from JV Boys Basketball. That individual who worked at the JV Boys level, Jeff Ebner, has decided to coach middle school boys basketball this year with Kurt Gaylor, who's our elementary counselor. And we are looking at hiring Grant Dull for JV boys basketball coach. And even though Meg's name is in here for National Honor Society, we do have to officially post the position. So we would remove her from the list until that position is posted.
That covers it. Any questions? Not, then we ask for a motion to approve those changes. Motion made by Brent, second by Ryan. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any donations?
No donations this month.
Anyway. Any fund lady requests?
No fund lady requests either.
Okay. We have a second reading of a number of policies there.
Yep, the policies were in respect to personal protective equipment during the pandemic and epidemic events. The attendance requirements to include remote and virtual learners, graduation requirement review, Title IX regulations as required by law, and a review of Sunday and Wednesday activities that is at the discretion of district administrator to allow those to occur. This will be our second reading.
I make that motion. You got questions? Does anybody have any questions on any of the policies? Most of us, half of us were on the policy committee. So anyway, Jeff Boardman makes the motion to approve the second reading of those policies. Jeff Long seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7.7 is the WASP Convention registration for the virtual convention.
And Brent, I believe you are our delegate, is that correct? So we hope you would be able to attend that virtual meeting and go to any of the sessions you're interested in going to, but also serve as that delegate role. Traditionally, I think the board president has gone and the superintendent has gone and attended sessions, and so we'll review those. I'd like to review them with my administrative team, and we can figure out how to watch those.
Group.
Well, that would, we could go to the library and spread out and be able to take more advantage of that, because we are going to be able to do it virtually.
I think we're going to have way more benefit. So if you're interested in going to the convention and registering,
Let her know.
Let Jackie know, and
Yeah, Jackie. Okay.
yeah, and she'll get you registered.
all right. So our next item then is school board election timeline.
Yes, the school board election will be held on Tuesday, April 6th, 2021. Ryan Benner, Dara Springler, and Brett Hutchinson are up for re-election. Packets will be provided for them at the December board meeting. If any of the three choose not to run, it's required to have a notice of non-candidacy, and that is due to the district office by 5 p.m. on December 28th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the extracurricular contracts.
Enclosed is a list of the extracurricular contracts being requested to be issued. We held off on some of the contracts this year because we didn't know really where we would be moving along. So we did the fall sports contracts, but we also wish to ensure fall and winter, but we wish to assure that we are able to move forward with the other contracts. Homecoming advisor for Miranda Boardman, this should have been included in the fall, it was not. Prom advisor, Ms. Oswald is going to need to start making plans and working toward prom. Graduation advisor, it was certainly a lot of work last year to do both virtually and in person. And thank Mr. Grunning for all of his involvement again with that. We have teacher mentors who are working with our new staff there that you can see. And Chelsea Vanden Heuvel is going to be the tag coordinator for both Stoddard and Prairie View. She serves as the LMC director for both those school buildings.
Any questions on those contracts? Need a motion then to approve the contracts as presented. A motion by Darius, seconded by Brent. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have a winter sports update.
Mr.
Everybody
Urquhart.
hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I just wanted to touch briefly on our plan moving forward here. We started girls basketball today and gymnastics. I went in there for a while and we're doing our best to ensure everybody is as safe as possible, practicing social distancing as best as we can during a basketball practice and many other things that we're working through. Boys basketball and wrestling at both the middle and the high school levels is due to start next Monday. Other than that, I don't have really a ton of updates. I just feel like it's important to keep you in the loop as we move forward here. So I am meeting with athletic directors Wednesday. I know Mrs. Grounding and the superintendents usually meet sometime after we do too, and any changes will be shared out with you in regards to that as soon as you know more.
Okay. And then our next item on the agenda is the 8-person football application update.
Yeah, so wanted to give you a kind of an update on how things are looking. Since Ev and I had spoken to the board a few months ago, gotten the okay to start the application. We'd since have started and completed the application. It was due in its entirety yesterday, actually. I had it in early this week, and it's been reviewed by Stephanie Hauser, who works for the WIA, and she's assured me that I've gone about things the right way. To kind of give everyone some insight on things they asked, I had to clearly lay out what our enrollment trends were, what our projected numbers were going to be, things like school that would be affected by us moving to 8-player football, both in the conference we would be joining, the conference we would be leaving, and then anybody else that could be possibly affected by this. I believe that anybody has access to the applications on the WI website. If you're curious what our application would look like, I would be more than happy to print it out and share it. I believe Mrs. Grounding also has the ability to do so, but really it just came down to showing why I think this is a good move, or why our district would think this is a good move for us, and we really just wanted to highlight the importance of safety. If you look at the numbers like we shared, I don't know if we could confidently say that we would even have to support a program years down the road if we don't switch to 8-player football. After we spoke with you, we did have a town hall meeting, as Mrs. Grounding did in the past, with our response to COVID-19, and I don't remember how many viewers we had, but it was close to 20, I believe. So it's been out there for the community. I personally haven't heard any objections to it. I know that Ev hasn't heard any objections to it. So at this point, we're looking for the board's approval to continue to move forward with this process. So the application's in. So if it's all right with everybody here and we get your approval, we're going to continue to move forward. Moving forward is going to require that we attend the conference realignment meetings and become a lot more involved in this process. I believe the meetings at WIA start in some capacity tomorrow, and it runs kind of through April. So you get no definitive answers right away, but the process is going to be ongoing. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do the best I can to answer them, but right now that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, well, with that, are there any questions? Then we would ask for a motion to approve Mr. Urquhart proceeding with the football application, 8-person football application. Motion by Jeff, seconded by Ryan. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, thank you, Brandon.
Mr. Urquhart, before you leave us, do we have a fall awards program this week? that you'd like
So
to-
currently we're looking at, I've spoken with our head coaches. Obviously football is wrapping up, this Thursday. The cross country, we decided as the coaches thought it was best that we do individual banquets this year, just so that we keep numbers down, keep people, safe and at home. So they decided to do this virtually. I know Mr. Pedretti and Mr. Ryder have theirs planned for tomorrow night. Mr. Ryder informed me that the email and phone calls have been sent out to their program. Ms. Witesky is still working on finding a date, and Mr. Wick, we're going to have that conversation with the season end. But hopefully the winter season will turn out, and we can have a banquet with everybody in the LMC or the Commons. But right now we decided it probably was the best decision to bring everybody together, so we're going to do that online.
Thank you for
And we'll
sharing.
definitely be able to share our language and stuff so people can view that, and it'll be either in Google Meet or a platform like this.
Thank you, Ms. Durkee.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, then we can move along to principals and directors reports.
Okay, if building and grounds is ready, Guy and Jackie, if you want to share your building and grounds report, and there is information in the board packet on topics they want to review.
All right, so we kind of put together some stuff as far as what we've been doing in the past for upgrades in the school. The first sheet that's in there is the high school, middle school electric bill. We kind of just did the 3 months. It's early yet because, we just put the stuff in September, but you can see easily since September, we've been saving on utility costs. At the high school, middle school, it's about $1,500 a month right now compared to last year. Moving on to Prairie View and Stoddard. Those couple months, they seem to be about $200 to $250 at each place, savings a month. So already kind of paying for everything that we put in. So that's good news. Moving on to the high school boiler loop. That was part of our boiler water system upgrade. You can kind of see in the bottom of them buckets that black. That's the problems that we were having in the boiler system, along with the water quality. The magnetic filter that we put in is definitely working. That's what all that is all the particles from the cast iron pipe that we're picking up. Water softener. Buckner's came Tuesday, started installing the water softener for the high school, middle school. They just put it online today, so that's now working. We're in the process of getting a couple more roof bids. We'll have to have a committee meeting next month. Hopefully I can get these other bids in, and then we can give you guys some information for that. We also had S&S Mechanical come and just kind of give us some advice on some of the plumbing fixtures and that, where we're having problems of leaks and that. Some minor fixes, some stools, things like that. Prairie View Elementary requested for another bottle filling station. We'll look in to see if the PTO is interested in possibly picking up some of that cost. We did get another one for the high school, middle school, which finding out after talking to Grant that they were kind of a hot commodity, so we ordered one right away, and we were lucky to get one. And I do believe the Booster Club is going to help us out on that one.
They're covering the entire cost.
Cool, good deal. As far as our 4-hour night position that we have for seasonal in the wintertime, Luke Steiger from Lansing has been working with us for about 2-3 weeks now, I think it's been. All seems to be going out well. He's a part-time custodian over in Lansing as well, so he's familiar with the stuff that we use in that, so it's working out pretty good. If anybody knows any substitutes that would like to sub for custodians in that, can apply on weekend or whatever. Anybody that knows anybody, always looking for subs. Carpet in Lab 4, which would be Mr. Durkee's room, special ed room. They installed the carpet in there. Everything looked really nice. I give kudos to Karen because she wrote a grant for this. So it did not actually come out of our expenses, our budget that we budgeted towards this room. So Karen did a great job in writing a grant for that. And also opened up the doors to another contractor to bid on stuff. They did a great job. So we're going to have them bid on some more stuff here at the school. CISA 10, we're going to be working with them tomorrow. They're going to come kind of help us on our different things that we got to have as far as chemical hygiene, bloodborne pathogen stuff like that. Just things to update our CISA 10, MSDS online, all that stuff. Plexiglass barriers, been making a few more of them, and that's just kind of an ongoing thing. It is helping as far as spreading things. It seems like it's not really going through our student body, so they are helping somewhat. And as far as the building usage, the last thing that I got, this got brought up a couple different times. I do think that right now, as far as the COVID and everything, the spike in cases and that, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to invite club activities into the building. Probably just keep our own high school or school affiliated things going. And that's about all that I have. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Guy. On your August for your electrical, how come August was so high for the high school, middle school, and Prairie View?
We didn't
I
have
do
the
believe-
electrical lighting, I think.
Well, I'm comparing it from last year.
I do believe, Jeff, why it is this high this way is because this year we did most of our cleaning at Prairie View in August, where usually we do it in Stoddard.
Okay.
So that's where that spike came from. We kind of did it backwards this year. I'm guessing that's where that spike came from.
All right.
Good job on your summary sheet, too.
Did you hear that, Guy?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jackie did an excellent job. She helped put this together and everything. She did a great job. She was at home working, so she did a great job putting everything together.
Thank you, Jackie. too.
Thank you.
Thank you both of you. Okay, food services, Betsy there?
She has her cameras off.
The camera's
Have her
on.
camera on. See if she- Here, I'll bring her up.
Betsy, if your camera's working, we're looking for you to turn that on, otherwise we'll just go with your
There she
audio.
is.
There she is.
I'm kind of, okay, are you there?
We're here.
All right. Just a reminder that preschool meals are available for the remote learners, homeschool families. Those students that aren't in school yet. Meals can be picked up every Tuesday at any of the 3 buildings between 7:30 and 8:30, or by appointment. Parents must pre-order meals by calling me or emailing me. And then if or when the district would switch to virtual down the road, if we need to, free meals would still be offered. I don't have all the details yet on how that would work, but that would be offered. And then the last thing I have is we're looking for subs as well. So if you know anyone, tell them to apply on weekend. And if they have any questions, they can give me a call. And that's basically all I have.
Betsy, weren't you also writing a grant for some equipment?
Yes, there's a grant that USDA is offering right now. It's, I believe, up to $25,000. So I'm in the process of submitting that grant. I will finish the first step tomorrow, and then they'll let us know if we are able to go further. If we are, then I'm looking at purchasing a new steamer for the middle school, high school, and a dishwasher for Stoddard Elementary. So based on what the bids come in, we may be able to get 2 pieces of equipment.
Well, thank you for that, Betsy. It was a little hard to hear, so I'm just going to reinforce for our families out there that for those who are virtual or part of our charter school that live within our district, meals are available to be picked up between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. at all of our school buildings or by appointment. And free meals will certainly continue to be offered if the district moves to remote learning. So if there are students who are remote learning and they haven't gotten their meals yet, please contact Betsy Knudsen so that you're able to sign up for that. And then we're also looking for food service substitutes. We're looking for custodial substitutes, and we're looking for teacher substitutes. So we might as well hit all the areas. And again, a big thank you for all of our staff, from teachers to administrators, for paying attention to grant opportunities and taking the time, like Betsy is doing, to try to secure $25,000 in funding for a new middle school, high school steamer and a dishwasher at Stoddard. So thank you very much for those efforts, Betsy. Dwayne.
Actually, not a lot to report tonight. So one of these days, I'm going to try to bring some of my students in and we can kind of get together and do some of the interesting things we're doing with this.
Thank you. There's some great accomplishments. Do you want to just comment briefly on one of your students, Finn Buckner, and his work on the Veterans Day program that aired on Veterans Day?
That was, Vin produced this year. We recorded all the video remotely, sent it to him because he was
Remote too.
He was remote, and he was able to edit it all down by remote, then send it back, and we streamed it after he put it all together, and he actually did all the editing himself at his house. So it's on the website if somebody wants to watch it. The link is there, and I think he did an outstanding job of putting it all together.
So Dwayne recorded all the individual speaking presentations, the band and the choir, and then put those all together and inserted title slides, credit slides, and some stock video footage and other photos that we have to make it a very quality program. Our elementary schools watched it in their classrooms. Our middle and high school students who were remote learning were given that time to watch it at 11 a.m. And we hope community members enjoyed it as well. So thank you, Mr. Grenning, for that excellent production that came out of your class, because it just shows the work that students do, how applicable it is, not only to school, but to the community. So an excellent example of that. Thank you very much. Mr. Fergit, are you ready to join us at this time with your report for the middle school, high school?
Sure. Would you like to talk or kind of join me in respect to the remote learning schedule?
You certainly can share that, or what you need, just let me know.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Yep.
So, as all of you are aware, last week the middle high school, and actually the Friday before, we went to a remote or virtual learning schedule. The schedule was created really through several different, looking at different information. We took a look at school districts, what other school districts were doing, not only in the area, but throughout the state in respect to remote learning. We also took into consideration parent concerns from last spring. Many parents felt like you didn't want their students online all day or in front of a computer screen. So we use that as information for building the schedule. Student input. Still, we really wanted to, get an idea of how long it was too long to be on the computer. So we did create the schedule last week. I wanted to know that was, go through the information to create the remote learning schedule. We also have constraints with the high school and middle school schedule because we have shared teachers. So whatever we do in the middle school, we have to come in high school and vice versa. So with that being said, while people would have seen a remote learning schedule that would have ended the student day at around lunchtime, the teachers were not done. I did ask the teachers to log their activities throughout the afternoon. So it's important to note that many teachers, in fact, I've got some averages here that I'll just share out with you guys. More than 1 hour of each day was spent by the teachers giving individual students assistance with homework or, some guidance in what they were doing on their activities, band lessons, as well as making student contacts, making sure they're getting online all right. They have their, the assignments that they need and the technology and so on. Again, that was over 1 hour per day. Also within those student contacts, each teacher made approximately 4 to 5 on average, 4 to 5 student contacts a day. More than 1 hour was spent by each teacher gathering copies for students that maybe didn't have the technology that they needed in order to, join Google Classroom and do the assignments. So hard copies had to go out, other materials, art projects, and band instruments. So that took some time. I also know Mr. Folsang, our tech ed teacher, was running pallets around, so his students had the materials they needed to complete the project that was required for the class. And then lastly, we had slightly less than 1 hour per day were spent recording lessons, shifting the curriculum to reflect the remote learning, and just simply grading. Papers come in all different venues. You can imagine they come by email, they come by post on Google Classroom. Sometimes they're hard copies. It takes a while to collect that information and assess it. So I just wanted to share that out with the board and who's ever listening out there that's what the afternoon was used for. Again, more than an hour giving student assistance and more than an hour making sure the students had everything they needed to complete that work and that successfully. So with that in mind, we did revise a schedule which we will put on the website, and revise remote learning schedule, which we will tweak slightly, make our high school classes a little bit longer, approximately an hour. And then we can make our middle school classes just slightly less than a half hour per period. Again, you have those constraints. And there is some, it should be noted that there is trepidation. The computer time really is meant for instructional time, whether it's a lecture or guiding practices for the students, band lessons, or overall band lessons, choir practice, and so on. That once that instruction time is done, the teachers don't, they can't, ensure what every student is doing while that camera is on them. So we just want to make sure that everybody is aware that there is some concern from the teachers and monitoring those situations out in remote land, so to speak. So with that in mind, again, the schedule will be published, I believe, tomorrow or the next day online in case we do need to make that transition again. I will say that the teachers, this is twice now that we've asked the teachers to make a very quick transition in the middle high school. And I mean, they've just done an awesome job, and everybody's, been on board with it. They've maintained a really positive attitude in doing so. And, an amount of kids that were online last week was phenomenal. I mean, most of our kids had very little to no trouble in attending their classes and getting their work done. So that's a testament to our community, I think, and our students, our teachers, and you guys as well. So I appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Dronning for anything that I probably missed.
No, I think you covered all the bases, and I just think it's a real tribute to our students and the teachers for making the conversion over, shifting to that remote learning, and then working so hard to make it work. We do have some students that, for whatever reason, do not have internet access, and that is partly to either where they live, or it could be the family choice to purchase the internet service or not. We do provide hard copies to those students. We can work with them over the phone, and we provide hotspots to those who don't have internet. But we recognize that there are some students who this is just a very big challenge to learn this way. And as we move forward, there may be considerations for some part of our population to be in the school buildings if that is needed, if we end up having to do remote learning on a larger scale. Thank you, Mr. Ferget.
Thank you.
Mr. Fulsang from Stoddard, we'll have you present your report.
Hello, how's everybody doing? Is my echo good or my sound okay?
You're good.
All right, here we go. I agree with Mr. Ferget. The teachers continue to work hard to keep up with the few remote students that we have in class. And I had one personally myself this last week with a first grader and a third grader. And the more they check in, the better these students do. So that those check-ins take time, and the personal learning too in Stoddard has been great too. So I'm really proud of our teachers and our staff there. This week we're working on a virtual schedule for the elementary, Kelly and I, and we're going to take it out to check in with some teachers on what their feedback would be if or when we did go virtual, and how we would service our Title I students or the special education students during those times too. I've also been trying to work with the teachers to come up with a plan if they have grade level students in our building, or if maybe a high school teacher has grade level students in our building, how we can service those students, because we do have lots of parents in our buildings, and how we can take care of those kids if we do go virtual. So we've been throwing out some ideas about surround care and different avenues on how we can help those teachers, because when they're home and they're trying to teach their kids at the same time, it makes it really hard for those teachers. And that's something that they're really worried about if we do go virtual. So something we've been talking about and trying to figure out. Proud of our students. We just wrapped up first quarter and report cards went home Friday. So hopefully they got lots of good feedback and reports. And one thing that our teachers are doing, we're doing a cover sheet for report cards, because we heard from parents that they just didn't get a lot of feedback from the report card as far as specific comments go. So we did cover sheets this quarter to kind of give them some of that feedback. So hopefully that helped bridge that gap a little bit. We've been trying to do some staff prizes and rewards and different things. These teachers are so used to enjoying each other's company and collaborating with each other every day, and that's something that they definitely miss, and you can tell that that's just hurting the morale just a little bit. And so we're coming up with fun prizes at Stoddard. We played bingo, we did some other little fun outdoor activities, so just trying to lift people up a little bit, to make them feel like we're all one instead of all being separate. Thank you to Betsy. She's going to help us with the Thanksgiving meal for Tuesday for students and staff. So we appreciate that. And thanks to Lindsay for filling in for me a little bit at Stoddard for the last few days when I was gone.
Thank you, Derek. It was wonderful to be in your building. Miss Mary is the admiral when you are away. She runs that ship just tightly, and it's really fun to see the interactions with all the staff and the students. Pretty exceptional group of people there, and kids are really responsive. I'm very impressed with how well they do with wearing masks and how responsive they are to any corrections on that. They're just doing the best they can to keep that building safe and healthy, so thank you for that. It was a pleasure to be there. Mr. Olsen.
Hey, everyone. We had a successful parent-teacher conferences. We had a 90% attendance rate, either by phone conference or Google Meet. Super proud of what we've accomplished this first quarter. As you know, not too many schools are even open or have been able to function. So I feel very, very fortunate to have done that for the first quarter of the year. And just thank teachers, staff, parents, students, community members for all their support so that could happen. I'm just taking the pulse of the staff the last couple of weeks. You know, I can definitely tell a little more mentally taxing on them, considering what they hear in the media and the increased numbers in the region and in the state, but still staying positive and trying to work through some of the challenges we have had recently due to COVID at Prairie View, and just plan on pushing through it as much as we can. And again, I appreciate everyone's flexibility and optimistic attitude about this on occasion, a very dismal situation. I would like to thank Guy. He's been continually making more barriers when we ask him to at Prairie View, and has our music and art room all decked out now for our students in those 2 rooms. So definitely a team effort by many, many people, and hopefully we can keep it going here and just the state and the country get into a better state in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Olsen. I also enjoyed being up at your building and working in a couple of capacities there. It's just such a welcoming atmosphere, and the kids there and teachers there are really representative of everyone in our district. They are focused on education and focused on everyone's safety and health. So congratulations to Tim and Derek and Kelly for leading your buildings that way. Thank you so much.
One more comment. I had a very funny moment this morning. One of our kindergarten male students was just staring into our office. Happened to be our school psychologist was there, and he asked, "Is that the guy that beat President Trump in the election?" So we went in there, and he thought Joe Biden was standing in our office today. Didn't happen to be him, but boy, he gave us a good laugh. And then in the afternoon, he asked me if Joe Biden was still in our school.
Your building's used to seeing a lot of celebrities there, from former governors to state superintendents to president of our own board. So why not have the president-elect there, right?
I guess.
You should send that out to Vice President-elect Biden and see if he wants to pay our rural school a visit. We'd welcome him. As we would anyone who was a elected leader who wanted to come to our schools. Mrs. Moline.
Excellent. Well, we're going to start with some pretty exciting stuff here. I'm going to just try to do a screen share. We're going to start with our preschool. Let's see here. Sorry, I got to close this out. Preschool graduation, as we were culminating our activities from the 2019-2020. Let's see here. I don't know why it doesn't really want to work out so well here, but we'll give it a whirl here. So this happened over the last 2 Fridays, so I will try to, one more time here because it's not wanting to come up. There we go. All right, everyone should be able to hopefully see that. So on the first picture here, like I said, over the last 2 Fridays, we've had a chance to culminate learning for our students that were preschoolers during the 2019-2020 school year. These students who are now kindergartners had a chance to all participate in a virtual ceremony. It was a great culmination of their academic progress and growth towards their continued education here as DeSoto Pirates. Last week we did Stoddard, and the week before was Prairie View. So the picture everyone's looking at right now is at Prairie View with a socially distant group of learners. And I'd like to just give a shout out to a lot of staff who helped make all of this possible. Of course, we have everyone who helped set up, from our maintenance and custodial crews to secretaries for ongoing communication, Ms. Settlemeyer and Mrs. Zink for their coordinated efforts, Mrs. Campbell for helping with some music, kindergarten teachers, and of course, Mr. Groning. So it was pretty exciting to see. This is a little bit of the behind the scenes footage, of course, with Mr. Groning capturing everything, and some of the bright sides of it. Even though it was virtual, the mics that he was able to use was able to pick up our students who were much quieter and softer spoken, and they could be well heard to share out what they're going to be in the future. So we have a future teacher coming up here. Bryn would like to be a teacher, and we have everything from future DeSoto Pirate volleyball players to marine biologists. So quite a group that we're looking forward to having and continuing into kindergarten. As you can see, they had some pretty exciting caps and gowns on, which they felt very special in for the day. Moving on, I'd like to share out a few other things, but thank you to all those parents before we move on, and families who were able to join in on that virtual ceremony and be able to engage in that as we celebrated those learners just in a different way this year. Moving on, since the last time I've been able to provide a report, which was the end of September at the September school board meeting, we've had 25 IEPs or initial evaluations. In addition, right now we're very busy with initial evaluations that are either in the works or just finishing and placing students. Additionally, a lot of time has been spent connecting remote learners, supplies, services, and interventions. So whether they're remote from the beginning of the school year, or they're remote for a day or 2 weeks or whatever it may be, it takes a significant amount of time from our staff to make all of that happen. However, that being said, it's not an easy time in education, as others have talked about. I want to commend our families, community, staff, teachers, administrators, and also our students, because together these teams have all worked to make the education the best it can be for our 2020 learners amongst this pandemic, of course. These positive connections with families have proven very fruitful for some of our remote learners, or those that have been learning through virtual connections. Some have really embraced it, and they found that it's a great way for them to learn. And I've been very happy with some of their progress through this learning. And it's been fortunate that I've been able to connect with families by sharing out how hard their children have worked, especially through these parent-teacher conferences and times when we've connected with families over the last couple of weeks. Additionally, I've worked with some of our staff here and our professional learning communities with special education teachers and paraprofessionals in meetings to help overcome some barriers, because some of this is very challenging for our learners and our parents and families and our staff. So we definitely have wanted to work together to team up and put our best efforts forward to discuss staffing, caseloads, troubleshooting to provide better services to our students and those who are in person, as well as those who are remote learners. So we've had to make some definite ongoing adjustments in order to help one another through this and continue to assist our students. As I continue to move forward through this with our staff, we want to continue to actively discuss how to best service students if or when either a building or district may need to go remote if they would need to. Through this, we've discussed how staff may be best utilized, if staff are definitely here and able to be healthy or aren't contact traced, as well as students who are healthy and not positive, obviously, for COVID, and how we could offer out some services and options for those learners who might need to be in person, even if we need to have a school remote option, or remote if our school does go remote. So an option for some of those students we definitely are considering and looking at what would be safe, in addition to be able to provide the best services, because some of our related services, such as speech and language, occupational therapy, physical therapy, teachers of the deaf, those are some of our services that we definitely have challenges in duplicating that aren't when they aren't in person. So we of course have many considerations, including transportation, teaching, paras, support staffing, custodial staffing, to make sure that things are cleaned up if students are here and that they can continue to maintain safely, parent support as well as comfort levels and meal services. These are ongoing discussions that we continue to have as we move forward, but I wanted to make sure all of our board is definitely understanding where we're at the current moment as we navigate through our COVID challenges. Other factors may include the amount of time that students need to be in person so that they're able to receive that academic, behavioral, and social skill development, or those related services that I was discussing. In addition, being able to support in space so that each of these students would be at least 6 feet apart and connect similar to their peers in classes if they were scheduled in here in person, so that they could be on the computer with special education staff that could assist them and provide accommodations, supports, and modification to coursework as well as assessments. So then teachers would be able to work with students when they are not in assigned courses, so there wouldn't be students in each of the classrooms. As a reminder, some students have been very successful with remote instruction and would not need to come into the building. Others may need to access services just during an exam or on a minimal basis. So the most challenging situations are those when we have the inability to best duplicate those services that cannot be met remotely. That would be true for not only some special education, but also when we're looking at that for Title I services, in particular for students who are undergoing interventions that require fidelity, that maybe are in an evaluation or going to be undergoing an evaluation for a learning disability referral. Or those students who are not making progress at the same rate of their peers in remote instruction, or those cannot be duplicated. So again, I just want to make sure that the board and everyone is updated on kind of some of our considerations and things that we're continuing to work on as we undergo and considerations if we do end up going remote. And then one last thing that I wanted to report out on is we've had a position at Prairie View, which has been open. And at this current moment, we are planning not on replacing at this building, but we are evaluating the needs across the district and our programs to see where that need is best going to be met. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Report, your diligence along with that of your special education staff and aides is certainly commendable. The U.S. Department of Education has not provided any waivers or any reduction in requirements for services for students who are special needs students. And so even with the pandemic, there is 100% expectation that their IEPs, their individual education plans, will be met and met fully. And so because of that, all the extra work and effort on your part and your staff's part to accommodate our students, whether they're virtual learners, whether they have to be remote for a period of time, or whether they're in our school building, is absolutely essential. And I thank you and commend all of you for that work. Okay, I'd like to provide my report then. School board members, along with parents and our St. Charles and St. Matthews, received information from me over the weekend. On Sunday, I sent out a reminder that we would again be offering in-school classes for our middle and high schools starting today. So it was just a reminder so parents knew that that period that we had switched to remote learning had concluded. I also included information from the Vernon County Health Department, which is reaching out with a letter that was sent out last Friday to businesses, community members, schools, and hospitals to remind people that due to the increase of COVID positive cases in our county, how important it is to maintain mask wearing, physical distancing as it's feasible, or if you're closer than 6 feet, do not be closer than 6 feet for 15 minutes in a 24-hour period. hand sanitizing, cleaning, and disinfecting. As Guy mentioned, we received kudos from the Vernon County Health Department, who also contacted the state immunologist, and that individual indicated that while the plexiglass barriers do not eliminate the requirement for the 6 feet social or physical distancing, what he does believe they do is help prevent the spread of COVID, and that is why we have seen very few or any contact trace individuals become a positive case related to the school environment. Current information, both on the national level as well as the state level, indicate that the concern that the spread was going to be would hugely impact schools. The data has shown that they're not seeing that spread at schools, that it is occurring out in the community at other kind of events, whether they be family events or recreational events where there's large gatherings, or use of community businesses such as bars and restaurants that haven't been limiting people in those facilities. And so that is good news. That is, again, very supportive of the efforts that this district has made under the leadership of this board and this administrative team and our teachers, custodians, maintenance staff, who have worked diligently to maintain clean environments, physical distancing when possible, disinfecting procedures, and those extra plexiglass barriers, along with providing face masks, eye goggles, and gloves as needed to staff and students. So it's great to hear that the data supports the efforts, and I'm pleased to share that. Also in my email, we asked for families to continue to support us in this effort of preventing the spread, and to be diligent about taking their children's temperature every day before sending them to school, checking with symptoms, so that if they do have a temperature or if they aren't feeling well, that they don't come to school. Because that is going to be the first line of defense, is at home with parents who are making sure when their kids do come to school that they are feeling well. Even though we know that this is an illness that students can be asymptomatic, meaning they don't show any signs or symptoms, when kids do, we ask that our parents support us and not only do that for their own child's sake, but for every child's sake and for the sake of our staff, so we can keep our doors open and keep offering in-school opportunities for our students and families who choose that. I would also like to mention that if someone is positive, there is a 10-day period in which they should not return to work or to school. And that is initiated from either the first date of symptoms, or if they're asymptomatic, from that positive test date. The quarantine period for contact trace individuals is based on the last date of contact with that positive person, and that extends typically 14 days. And those individuals can return to work or return to school after that 14th day if they have no symptoms and they haven't needed any medication to reduce the symptoms. But I would like to share out that there are different families that have different circumstances. And if somebody has been a COVID positive in that family, whether it's a grandparent, a parent, an older sibling who's out of school, or even children in the same family, those individuals, once they have overcome and recovered from COVID-19, they are not contact traced for 90 days. There is belief in the medical community that they have enough antibodies that they are resistant to getting COVID again. I'm sure there are cases where they've gotten it twice, but there is the belief and the information we have that individuals are not going to be contact traced for 90 days. So out in the community, people may see individual family members going about a careful but normal life, and there may be this perception that they should be at home because they have a family member who is positive or has been contact traced. And that is going to differ from family to family. And the information each family gets is going to be based on their circumstances that they receive from the county health department. So I realize that we're all wondering who and when, but I think we have to exercise caution and understanding that each family's situation is unique and different, and each family may have different advice by the county health departments based on the circumstances of that family. Additionally, if you were listening to PBS radio, Marshfield, the head of Marshfield Clinics and Hospitals was on last week, indicating that there's the potential that after someone has recovered from COVID-19, that they would have the antibodies to support up to 5 to 6 months of not becoming infected again. So this just represents the amount of information that continues to come out to the public, continues to come out to schools from a variety of different health sources. And we do our best to make the safest and healthiest decisions for our students and staff in the community. I'd like to share that I appreciate that Rick Pedretti joined our weekly county health department meeting with county superintendents, because that provided an opportunity for Mr. Pedretti to also hear what other schools were doing, as well as to understand that we're all facing the same type of things. Information is constantly changing. Procedures and guidelines may change with that. We're all facing a shortage of substitute teachers, and we're all worried about how we can best ensure the safety and well-being of our students and staff. So I don't know if you want to share any comments from overhearing and participating in that meeting, but I do wanted to thank you for taking the time that morning to join that meeting.
I think you summed it up pretty accurately, but everybody's going through the same issues. Substitute teachers, contact tracing are the battles that all the schools face. There are some schools that are going completely virtual, and there's other schools that are trying to do like we're trying to do, and that is as much face-to-face as possible. And yeah, it was a very good meeting, and there's a good bunch of heads people putting their heads together. So thanks for letting me come.
Our other compliment is extended truly to our Vernon County Health Department, the nurses there, Amy, Emily, Betty, who have been in contact with us and providing us with information, as well as Crawford County Health Department that have served our district. I think one of the challenges is that parents will learn after they've gone to the test center. They will learn within 1 day to maybe 5 or 6 days later, depending on where they were had gone. That information then goes to the Wisconsin surveillance system that outputs it to the county health department. So there is a lag time. So we really appreciate that if parents have a positive case or their child has been contact traced, that they call their school and let us know. We can then call the county health department and seek verification, but the county health department cannot release the information without the parent, guardian, or the adult who is a positive's permission due to the HIPAA law. And so sometimes that also is a slight delay, but fortunately our parents have been very wonderful about notifying schools and giving permission for the health department when we've called to get that official verification to be given that information, so that we can proceed to provide information out to our families and to our staff and take any necessary precautions that we need to. That is the end of my report.
Well, thank you very much. I think we've got all reports covered then, right?
We do.
Okay, with that, is there any correspondence?
No correspondence today.
Does anybody have any items for the December 21st board meeting that they wanted on the agenda for sure? So, Lindsay, no. And with that, I'd ask for motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion by Jess, seconded by Jeff. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for tuning in.